The People Playbook is for professional business owners and leaders who understand business rises and falls on people. You will hear practical, real-world conversations on clear leadership, smart hiring, and building strong teams. All formulas for retention. Get ready to hear your professional peers and industry experts as they discuss lessons learned and best practices. Get that journal out. You'll be taking lots of notes.
Welcome to the People Playbook, a weekly show designed for business owners, leaders, and professionals who understand that organizational success depends on how well people are hired, developed, and led. Each episode features practical, real-world conversations around leadership best practices and lessons learned, focused on what actually works inside growing organizations. Each week, the People Playbook will deliver actionable tips that align business strategy with people strategy. I am your host, Coach Cora, a trusted advisor to organizational leadership for over 25 years, working with top leaders through to the front line across industries, company size, and within many different business cycles. I've had the opportunity to work with many of our Texas treasures. With us today is a special treat. We have Wendii Lord. You may have heard from her before. She's been on the show. She is also a member of Team Coach Cora. She goes out and delivers some of our solutions to our clients and does an exceptional job and is really appreciated by our clients. And you also are the District 55 Director for Toastmasters, running our district for us, doing a bang-up job this year. Thank you for that. And you have also supported many leaders as they're growing their organization. So today, I'm inviting you because I think you have so much to share with our business community about what it looks like to either be a support or to be supported by that strong person that helps you be successful. I'm excited, Wendii.
Yeah, I hope I can share some useful things because it doesn't matter where you are in an organization, you're always supporting someone. So you might have an actual support role, like you're somebody's admin or you're in a support team that supports other parts of the business. But even if you're just a team member and you're in a part of a business or part of an organization that's actually achieving something, is the sales team or is the manufacturing team, you're still supporting your manager and the rest of the organization. You're still supporting your other team members. So hopefully we can give something that applies to everybody. I love the role of being the support person. I like being the person that helped other people get what they want, which is something that didn't occur to me until I was 100 years old. But I'd much rather be in the background than be the front-facing person. I want you to get what you want. And the first thing that I noticed of doing this over time was the first thing you need to know is what the goals are of the other person. Because you can come into a role and think you know what they need.
Of course.
Or you can be, in a team and think you know what your manager needs, what they've said to you potentially. But that isn't necessarily what they want.
And Wendii, I think what's so fascinating about what you just brought up, like you really want to know what do they truly want. What I've observed in you that you do very well is that when you have the confidence to challenge and push back.
Right. You have to be willing to listen to them tell you what their goals are. You have to be willing to observe them as well and see what their goals are, because people will work on the things they want to work on.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes that is not what they said their goals are. And sometimes that's because they've just got a mental disconnect around what they say their goals are and what they actually want to do. And sometimes it's because their goals seem scary or undoable or difficult or just
maybe they don't know where to start.
Right. I was working with a friend of mine who runs a retail store last week, and I went to her store to help her do some things. And on Tuesday afternoon, I said, what's the one thing you least want to do? And we did that thing because it's putting away the Christmas merchandise that she's been avoiding for 3 months. And it took us 3 hours. It was fine. So sometimes people will tell you what their goals are, but they're avoiding the one they don't want to do. And then you have to act like the trusted advisor and say, okay, this is what you said your goals are. This is what I'm observing. Or sometimes I know your goal is this, but I've thought about it. And what if you changed it a little bit, it might be easier to achieve or whatever. You have to have both the willingness to watch and to go with what they tell you, but also to be able to at least ask the question, but not be wedded to your own ideas. Sometimes people will do what you don't think is the right thing. But if you're truly being supportive, you have to help them as long as you've gone through that conversation.
And part of that, I would say, for people similar to you in your role, here's your goal, here's what you want to do. One technique that you bring to the table is helping leaders think through. Not everybody's super good at articulating.
Right.
Like you said, maybe I don't even know for sure, or I haven't fully thought it out. I may see the flag on the mountain, but I'm not really sure what the top of that mountain looks like, the flag, the journey. And so coming and saying, let's start here. Is this pick what you want that's best here? And then not only are you learning what the leader wants, the leader gets to work through and better understand the vision.
Absolutely.
Which then they can be more clear.
Yeah. And if that's a skill you can learn, which it is, it's just asking questions and not being judgmental, just trying to get feedback, get the answers. You know, your car doesn't judge you when it tells you that you're drifting out of the lane. It just tells you you're drifting out of the lane. Yeah. I think most of us tend to ask questions with an idea what the answer should be. If you can put that to the side, is an incredible skill, a really useful one. So the first thing, if you're going to support someone, you have to know where we're going, because you can't help someone get there if you don't know where we're going. And that takes a little time, and it can be revised, and you have to keep it in the back of your mind and keep, you know, what's the evidence for actually this is where we're going and how are we doing, and just keeping that kind of flexible in your mind. It's not a set destination. Think about a road trip. Sometimes you have to stop to look at the world's biggest fishing pole.
And I've seen people in these support roles with leaders that have real strong personality, strong influence. When they have that clarity, we said we're going that way. That's the flag on the mountain. That's where we're going. And we all drift.
That's true.
And it's less confrontational to say, are we still going up there? Because this feels like a detour. And is the detour worth it? Or are we just on a detour?
Right.
Did we take a wrong turn? Help me understand if we're still driving the same direction, but we're going to implement a detour, or then it's not confrontational. It's more that critical thinking that, to you said, I'm going to listen to what you're saying. I'm going to ask good questions. And it invokes thinking.
Right. Because most leaders are so busy and so run from meeting to meeting, and people keep asking them questions and they just answer in the moment, that they don't get a chance to think about things. So as a support person, one of the benefits is that you can see the bigger picture, or you can zoom out a little bit when they can't. And you can say, wait a minute, hold on. You missed the turning. Did you intend to? Or do we need to go back a bit, you know?
That's a good navigator.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we're driving, we're so focused on the road, we can miss the turn. And it's the
happens
navigator.
To me 3 times a week. In fact, it happened to me on the way here. Literally. I was talking to ChatGPT in my car, missed the turn-in.
I remember I used to work for an executive vice president who supported the CEO, of course. And he had a saying, I remember being in these executive meetings, and it was so funny. He would say, so if you want to burn the barn down, I'll go get the gas and the bucket and the rags, and I'll start the fire. If that's what you want, I am here for you. I just need to confirm. Are we really going to burn the barn down? And it would just kind of pause this. You're like, well, no, I don't want to burn the barn down. Why would you ask? Well, if we do X, Y, and Z, that would equal, oh, yeah, no. Right? And it would just, and it was funny because it would just slow them down a little bit. And I think that's an important role that support how we lead up.
Right. I don't think about managing up much, but I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the next thing in my list of how to be a good support person is flexibility, meaning there are a million ways to do things. They all work equally well, mostly.
Yeah.
And if you're going to support someone, you have to do it the way that works for them. I love a good spreadsheet. I'll design a beautiful spreadsheet for you.
Yes, you do.
It's beautiful. It's got a script. It's got colors.
Columns.
It's all beautiful.
Filters.
Yeah, filters and formulas and all this thing. And then you give it to someone and they're like, and then they come back to you with another tab that has something and it's just text.
She's talking about me right now.
No, I am not just talking about you. And you realize, okay, the way I see this information is not the way they see this information, or the way that it's useful to me is not the way it's useful to them. Sometimes somebody needs to talk through things when you're a write it down person.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just want to get everybody in the room and have everybody's opinion when you're like, can we just not make a decision and tell them?
We're going to do decision by committee.
Yeah, right.
And I would say one of the strengths you bring to Team Coach Cora is you do an excellent job with the plan and the details and the Excel, and you can sit down and do all of that. When I look at it, I see a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, can you just put that into a visual for me? I just need to see, right?
Right.
And I love how you, oh, yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
And you just use your data and create a visual.
Right, exactly. I'll just make it look like you want it to. I used to work for someone who is a genius, and he was writing a book. He was not the kind of person who liked sitting down and writing books at all. We had a deadline and a payment that we had to make, and like writing a book is hard. And so I would literally go to his house with a sheet of paper with 10 blocks on it and 10 issues or 10 pieces that he had to write. Like, okay, write me 3 paragraphs on this thing. And if you told him, write 3 paragraphs on this, he could do it in 10 minutes. And I would put a gold star on a piece of paper. And we get to the bottom of a piece of paper, he'd had 10 gold stars. Like, this guy is 60 years old,
Successful.
Went to West Point.
Yeah.
Like, not the kind of person you think was motivated by gold stars, but absolutely was. And we get to the bottom of the sheet, and he'd go, okay, what next? And I go, no, we're only doing 10 today. And he'd be like, oh, thank God for that. And the further I knew which 10 and which 10 the next, and that if we did 10 a day and which 10 we did would get us to the deadline, he didn't need to think about it. He didn't need to worry about it. All he had to do was the thing in the moment, and he got a gold star. That was how we got him through. And that feels like babysitting a little bit to me, but it was what was needed, and so I did it.
And I think what's important about that example is recognizing that when we are trying to accomplish big things, support is so important. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we can't. It's that we are so much better when we pull people in. People that have different skills than us, a different perspective, that can hold us accountable or allow us to talk, whatever it is, all the things that you just talked about. I'm going to be better when I bring these different people in.
Yeah. And there's a lot of us, including me, who think I can do it all.
Of course.
We talked about the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? And until I've tried it, I thought writing a book would be easy. Till I watched someone do it. It's harder than you think it is.
Yeah. Well, as a coach, I had been working on my book for 7 years. And then during the pandemic, when I said, this is going to be finished, right? I was home.
Yeah.
I wasn't traveling every night and doing all these other things. This is going to be an outcome of the pandemic for me. And as a coach, I knew the one way I would get that done is with a coach. So I hired a writing coach. And the first thing they said is, who's going to hold you accountable? And they have us assign certain people in our network to hold us accountable. And that's the same thing. I'd been working on it for 7 years. With pulling people in and having people hold me accountable and guide me, it was done in less than 2 months.
Right. Because hard things, like my friend and her Christmas merchandise, hard things become bigger in our minds.
Absolutely.
They get bigger and bigger. Like the thing that you've been putting off. There's a great lady on TikTok that I watched who does series about things I've been putting off.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Literally, she just needed to change her kitchen cabinet. And she's been like, I've been thinking about this for 6 months. Who of us doesn't have something in our house that we've been thinking about for 6 months? And when we actually do it, it takes 3 minutes.
And we say, I should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because things are hard. And sometimes a friend is all you need. And my next skill for great support people is anticipation. So thinking about what somebody needs in the next few days or the next week. For instance, we have a meeting coming up. If you know what the agenda should be, if you can put 90% of the agenda together and give it to that person and say, hey, here's a first draft. You take 99% of the work away from them. Everybody hates a blank page. And a lot of people find it hard to start tasks. So if you can start it for them, you can help them get it done faster. So just thinking, okay, what is that person going to need?
And I would say in response to that, Wendii, that's such a great point. First of all, your top leadership doesn't have time to start it. No. They don't. Secondly, if you are supporting somebody, you become invaluable when you do that. When I'm going to bring you something to edit versus waiting for you to do something. I can't do this until you do that. I can't wait until you do this. You are invaluable when you come in. Hey, is this what you were looking for? Hey, here's your agenda. Hey, here's what I planned for. Now they lean on you so much and rely on you. You're indispensable. And in the military, what they call that is, if your commanding officer is asking for it, it's late.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because it is about, I have somebody that I'm reporting to. It's my job to support them. And I should be anticipating. And anticipation, that's a skill. That's a big skill.
It's a skill. And what do we say about skills? Skills can be learned.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is look at their calendar, look what they're doing, think about what their goals are, think about what it is they're trying to achieve, and then, okay, what can I do that's the very first step of that makes it easier for them? Sometimes it's something that's fun, and sometimes it's something that's not. But,
What?
Just make it easier.
And I'm curious what your thoughts are. I know I have worked for leaders that I absolutely loved. It was a joy to work for them, and I learned so much. I have also worked for leaders that I didn't particularly like. I respected and understood the vision and could serve the vision. But I didn't particularly like them as a leader or a person. They didn't lead the way I wanted them to, and they didn't show up the way I wanted them to. But I could still serve them. So when we're anticipating their needs, can that get in the way?
I think it definitely can. Like if somebody rubs you the wrong way, as it were, I don't think being their assistant or being like their second in command is really, it's probably possible. It's probably not much fun for either of you. I do think, though, that the theme for this year's Toastmasters in District 55 is practice with purpose, meaning we go to Toastmasters to practice. We practice speaking. We practice running meetings. We practice being leaders. But what it's made me think this year is we're all practicing all of the time.
Nice.
And sometimes somebody is practicing being a leader at work. Sometimes they are practicing being your manager. And they are trying. Sometimes they're trying, sometimes they're not trying to improve. And if you can give them grace through their mistakes, sometimes that makes it easier to work with them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you're just not the right two people.
And having that assuming positive intent. They may not show up the way I want to or be who I want them to or lead the way I want. Do I believe they're leading with purpose and intention? They have a goal. Can I support the purpose?
And you have to remember, if that person is in the job and they haven't been fired, the organization supports the way they are doing their job and what they're achieving.
Absolutely right.
So whether you disagree with it or not, you are fighting the weight of the organization. And often I find, like, especially young people who haven't been in the workforce as long, think that they can complain about someone or something or some way that something is done and it'll change. And if the weight of the organization is against you, it won't change. all that will happen is you become known as a complainer.
Right.
And I don't think anybody ever tells people that. I
agree.
People, managers often think, oh, I have to listen to my people, which is true. You do. Mm-hmm. But you also have the duty to say to someone, I heard you. I understand why you're frustrated. Mm-hmm. Now let me explain to you something about organizational life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the why? I'm going to share with you the why.
Yeah. And sometimes there's no good why.
Yeah.
Right? The bigger the organization, the more likely it's a holdover from before. It's something we can't change. It's something that's baked into the system. It's something that someone's pet project and they have the ear of the CEO. Sometimes that's the reality of organizational life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And sometimes there's stuff coming at the organization or the market that we don't know about. Mm-hmm. And they're doing things that we don't agree with. It's not always about us. And sometimes it's being able to accept, like, this is where we're going. And to your point, truly, if I can't support the purpose, I might want to be working on my exit strategy. Yeah. But if it's just, I don't care for the person, I would offer that maturity, especially as somebody who's supporting a leader, maturity is, it's not about whether I like you or not. Mm-hmm. It's do I or do I not agree with the mission? Mm-hmm. Do I or do I not agree with the purpose and the direction we're going? If I do, I can manage my own emotions and still serve the vision.
Exactly. Okay, and one more. This is my most important skill for someone who is a support person in any way that happens. It's called professional forgetting. Meaning, I worked in HR when I first started working. There's a lot of stuff in HR that you are not. You're supposed to know it. You're just not supposed to tell anyone else. And when you have a conversation with someone, you're in the break room, knowing that secret and wanting to tell it, or knowing something about the person you're talking to and that coloring that conversation is so tempting. Oh, yeah. And learning how to forget it and not let it. If you're the person who has to tell a secret, then you cannot support people. Yeah. Because you learn all sorts of things about people. And even if it's my boss needs gold stars to get his work done and they're paying him $250,000 a year, like, you don't want to tell someone that. Right. So that skill of professionally forgetting things, of forgetting things you're not supposed to know and not letting them color your conversations and your actions is the most important skill. Yeah. Way more important than the others.
It's so important to be a confidant. So important. I remember I've worked in organizations where people love gossip and they'll come in, did you know such and such? Like, why would I tell you this breaking news and you never surprised? And I don't even talk about, I knew it. It's just, I don't talk about, especially when you're in a coaching role or in a development role where people trust you to have important conversations about upcoming meetings or one-on-ones they're going to have, and you become that sounding board, you better not repeat anything. Exactly. Because a lot of times what is being said is just an emotional venting that they dump it all out on the table, and then through questions, we sort through it so that when they go to the real meeting, they've got their thoughts together. Right. And they show up the way they need to.
And it's like that conversation didn't happen. It's
didn't happen.
It's like the working out. You just need the result. So
that's right.
Don't tell anyone. Anybody else is working through it.
Just let it go. Forget about it.
Yeah. So know their goals, be flexible, anticipate, and forget professionally.
Perfect. Any just one quick thing that you want to say out to those that are supporting others, that are the backbone of the backbone of the vision, if you will?
Without you, nothing will happen.
So true.
So do it. Do a good job of it. Like, it's as important as anything else. It's like, it's a profession, like being a doctor or a lawyer or a psychiatrist or whatever. It's a really important role, and do it well.
And so for those of you who are supported, really recognizing and understanding how not just effective and important that role is, but that there's a person in that role that is working very hard to be flexible and adaptable and to serve you, and remembering to really value that person for all that they bring. You've been listening to the People Playbook on 9:30 a.m. The Answer with your host, Coach Cora. And Wendii has stepped in. Wendii, our team coach Cora member, who has shared her thoughts on how supporting others is important and some tips for you. Remember, your business rises and falls on people. We are here to help you build clear leadership, develop smart hiring practices, and develop teams with intentionality. With these practices, everything else gets easier. And as your sponsor of today's show, I, Cora Lonning, president of CCL Ventures, and of course, Wendii on Team Coach Cora, look forward to helping you build the skills within your organization that will grow your business. So let's talk. Go to CoachCora.com. On the homepage, just click Book with Me, and let's set up a complimentary discovery meeting because we love to talk to people about people.
Thank you for listening to the People Playbook. For more information, Coach Cora can be found on LinkedIn and at CoachCora.com. Let's meet here next Saturday, 2 p.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.